All right, good evening, everyone. All right, I'll be beginning the meeting, the market debrief. Okay, first up, I'll be showing you this is the gold chart. All right, goes the spot rate of the gold prices, and for the past 1 week, right, we have been seeing 4 consecutive days of rally. All right, so this is something that is on my mind. Okay, because we are seeing a recent pickup of activities, conflict activities, something like the U.S. and China trade war deal. There are some news coming out that the U.S. is calling off the trade deal. So this is like one major conflict that's happening. There's also a China and India conflict at the Himalayas. There are some like minor skirmishes happening. All right, so it might be a possible conflict that might explode. Okay, and of course, we still have the pandemic, with most of the economies around the world are reopening and are reporting a increase in so-called second wave. All right, increase in the number of COVID infection. So there are a lot of uncertainty in the market, and therefore the gold spot price has started to inch up. All right, and has already broken this intermediate high. If we look at the long-term outlook, okay, this is the weekly chart. We are almost here at the 1,800 points, which I've previously mentioned about. This 1,008 is where the major resistance will be. Okay, so it's slowly going to trend up to test that. We just have to be mindful that there are a lot of conflicts that's happening around at the moment. So besides the gold, we have other currencies to look at. For example, this is the USD Swiss franc. Okay, so the Swiss franc is like considered one of the safe havens where investors will convert their US dollar to the Swiss franc, um, to reduce their exposure to the US dollar. So in the previous COVID crisis, when it first happened, there's a tank in the US dollar before it rebound. Depending on how they handle. And then right now we are seeing the trend coming down again, okay, as the conflict starts to rise. So this is the USD Japanese yen, same thing. There's a tank in the US dollar, okay, and then currently now is trying to trend down, okay. So these are some of the signs that are telling me that there'll be more uncertainty happening in the global markets in the near future. S&P 500, the futures market currently running, is a little bit on the downside at the moment. Okay, but currently it's still flat. It has been flat for like the past 1 week. Okay, after this big seesaw run that created a lot of havoc last week that I mentioned, gap up, gap down, gap up, gap down. So after this huge volatility in 2 weeks ago happening, the past 1 week has been quite a muted market. All right, same thing for Singapore. It has also been a very muted market. This is the Hong Kong market currently trying to inch up, but today is a down day. Whereas for China, it has been quite positive. Okay, this is the Shanghai Composite, so it's been moving up, trending upwards, and it's a good positive sign. Though it's trying to stay above the 200-day moving average. Okay, so we like to see China continue doing that. Hopefully it can help to bring the whole economy out, the whole world out of this pandemic situation. All right, so currently we know that Beijing is having a second wave resurgence, and they have been fast to try to clamp down this COVID infection. Okay, so let's hopefully Beijing is successful in that, and then we can see what will turn out from there. Okay, this is the Singapore market. Okay, so ever since there are rumors about the elections happening, the Singapore market has been very, very quiet. All right, and it's starting to inch down. Okay, so um, we know that the Singapore polling day is on the 10th of July. Okay, the news is out for election coming in for the new party, ruling party. So vote wisely. Okay, and in such case, right, usually the Singapore market, I will say that for big caps, especially a lot of government related stocks, they will most likely be so-called muted. All right, or people will start to like pair off their holdings, just to so-called curb their risk exposure in case of opposition win or in case of something happen during the election. That's how they manage their risk. All right, so I'm expecting Singapore to be continue to stay muted or silent or sideways in the coming weeks until we have our election results. Investors, what can we look at? So at this moment, we can look like some of the big cap stocks. They are quite undervalued. But as I mentioned just now, that the because of the elections coming up, we might see some more downside to the market. Okay, but something with this capital land, right, is quite interesting. All these down days that there's a lot of huge volume happening. Okay, and firstly is currently going into the oversold region. All right, so we may if this starts to turn up, right, we can look to invest in this. Okay, due to because of its fundamentals is deeply undervalued. All right, 38% there, undervalued. Nice dividends, 4+% yield. Okay, and so on. And firstly, also of course, it's domestic back. All right, after the purchase of this Ascenda Sing Bridge. Okay, so this is CapitaLand. So we like to see if it can stay above the support area. Support area around 282. So if you can like hover above and stay above, that'll be great. So as it starts to turn up, right, indicator starts to turn up, starts to turn up. This is the OBV, on balance volume indicator. So if it also turns up with buying, higher volume buying like this, high volume buying, is a good sign. We can look to invest in this. Okay, Maple Tree Commercial, similarly, previously yes, this rally, all right, and then yes, currently now doing this retracement or pullback. So right now it's also turning down to the oversold levels. Okay, so we like to see if you can stay above this support area 190, and it starts to turn up, right, we can look somewhere to invest into this. Okay, hopefully the whole global market situation turns brighter, becomes better and more positive, and that will be good for the stock market. So we like to see a confluence of all this good news happening, for to invest into all these stocks. Okay, I'd like to give an update on Yangzijiang. All right, Yangzijiang currently is trading this way on the downside. It fails to hit this, test this resistance. So by doing this, right, this somehow has weakened the whole structure of this pattern. All right, so in this case, we should just hold off on Yangzijiang, and see how it turns out in the later times. So I just cover a bit of on the banks. I'll just cover one. This is OCBC, and similarly, we will have the muted sessions. Past few days, up and down, trading in the tight range. So today has a much bigger range. People are just selling off because U.S. futures, as you know, in the U.S. trading sessions in the daytime has been like down negative 30 points. So traders could have been scared, overnight that the U.S. will be on a down move. So most likely traders get off these trades first. All right. So we would like to see if you can already test somewhere this area, and then there's a bounce, so we can look to buy into the bank stocks. Okay, so similarly for DBS, so I'd like to see it continue to trade above this area, this from $20.20. So if you can just stay sideways, in a tight range, and then it starts to turn up. Okay, indicator starts to turn up. this is a stochastic. So it starts to turn up, then it will be a positive sign. UMS holding previously, I think a month back, I talked about doing this trade. No, I did this trade. It went up. Actually, I bought somewhere around this day. Went up, did this, and when it does this, I took my profit and got out. So currently, right now, I already done this consolidation, and recently just trying to broke off. And we are starting to see volume coming in. Sideways down on a low volume, that's a good sign. Okay, so if we continue on a sideways low volume, one of the days that has a very low volume, right, is when we can look for a possible trade to for the upside. Okay. This is UMS. So there's not much for investors. Most of the good stocks, Ascenders REITs, Maple Industry, Maplecom, has already been sky high. So we just look at one more, this Capital DC REIT. Okay, so this one I'm very wary of this. Okay, it's done so-called like a nice pattern, like a nice cup and handle pattern. You can treat this as a cup, and this is a handle, or this is a cup, and then this is the handle. One thing that is not really convincing me is the volume. All the up days, right? There isn't much volume. Like for this day, you can see it's a down. The volume is high. Most of the down days, right? The volumes are quite high. This day it actually closed down. Even though it's green bar, it's still down. So there's a lot of volume happening, especially in the resistance area, this 255 area. All right. So in this case, I'm very wary of this, and in whether to invest or to trade. To me personally, I will stay out. All right. I know a lot of you who have in contact with me know that I've been eyeing this Capital D series for a long time, waiting for it to drop. Even dropping at this is still like still expensive, overvalued. It's only like 3% yield. So let's see how it turns out. If it can one day really drop much further in a bear market or something, and then we can just look to buy this REIT. Okay, so but not at this price. Traders portion. As traders, last week I mentioned about MedTech. Okay, if we understand MedTech usually runs for about 2 days. Okay, what happens is this is Wednesday, and then the next day it run off already, it broke off. And what happens is it gap up on the next day and then it closed down. So this is quite a negative sign. Okay, and most likely it's going to consolidate sideways for a while. So we will see how this one turns out. The positive sign is that this resistance turn support of 29 cents is holding well. Okay, so we still can look for opportunity for short-term trade in this. Last week also mentioned about Franken. Yeah, I really wanted to buy this, and then it really moved off when I have the time to look at it. So what happens is I already mentioned this is in a tight range. It's already time. This is like Wednesday, 17 June, Wednesday. This is about time when I say it's about to move off already, and then subsequently it also start to run for the next 3 days. Okay, so this 2 days already starts to pull back. What we wanted to see, the pullback continue to move off, and then somewhere trading around this area. So when it starts to turn up, with slow, very little volume like this, little volume, we can start to look for trade to move up. Do bear in mind that Franken is also going to XD soon. All right, I've posted in the chat. You can scroll back on the history. Okay, today's move. Okay, this Singapore e-development. Seriously, I'm not sure of what it's doing. What I saw is the news that they had some sort of fragrance or some application, I don't know, that they say can help protect a person from all sorts of infection, dengue, MERS, SARS, COVID, even COVID. Therefore the share price just run up like that. Okay, so most of it is just in the so-called testing phase. I'm not too sure whether it's real or not. Um, So, but this is how the market reacts to this sort of news. Okay, so this is Singapore e-development. At this moment, I can't read about this chart. I don't know whether you should buy or not. So we should see how it turns out. If you can also start to slide off. We just you can just do this and consolidate sideways. So what we want to see is how it turns out the consolidation, and then we just look for opportunity to buy if their claims are true. Yoma Strategic. Previously around here, I already mentioned that they had a deal with Ant Financial, with all their remittance coverage in Myanmar. All right, so after a consolidation, recently had a 3 days move. Yeah, the past 3 days move. So today has quite a very high volume. So I will expect it to have some consolidation or some pullback to happen. Okay, we can look at that to invest in. Okay, so we just be mindful that it doesn't breach this trend line. Okay, so if we just pull back to somewhere this area, we can also look into buying some, for investing for it to turn up. All right, so we see how this one turns out first. Okay, just bear in mind this stock. Today I posted in the chat. This is IPS Securex. This is a penny stock. Okay, and today had a move, but too bad it didn't close well. So what happens is previously they had their results as triple digit results, 123% increase in their revenue due to a government contract. Okay, I do not know which government they are talking about. So it was in December that they received the news, the contract, and then they reflect it in their results. So currently over here, somewhere April, they had another news saying that the government had also given them another contract for maintenance over the next 7 years. All right, and then most likely it's going to be material in their final year results, which is going to end soon, 30th June, and then going to report in like end July or August. Okay, so currently it's forming a nice pattern. There's a lot of people buying. All right, a lot of up bars, with high volume. So what I can say is that most likely this one you have to sell on the results or sell before the results comes out. All right, so this is what I read from the chart here, and based on the news that I've posted in the chat group. Now with most of the countries reopening, a lot of people are rushing for food. Okay, last week I already mentioned about Hai Di Lao. Mostly in China, a lot of people going to eat Hai Di Lao. What I heard, Singapore is also like packed. It's full house. So one of the exposure for all this high-end food, Jumbo, yeah, seafood restaurant. So previously was done doing a nice consolidation, and it broke off just before Singapore reopens their second phase. So here at this moment, we would like to see if we can rest sideways, do a nice consolidation, and then look for next trade. All right. So all these trades, right, will be a short-term trade, short-term swing trade. For your holding period is like less than five days, a week. Sheng Siong personally, to me, I did not enter anymore lah. Okay, so this is where it broke off again. All right, and then today had a inside day. All right, so um, looking at the chart is quite scary lah. How Sheng Siong had moved. Okay, so this is quite a euphoric move. Okay, this is a weekly chart. Okay, so most likely in this move instance, I think it might be the end of the run lah. Depending on how they close for the week. If we close all the way back down, I will say this chart is gone already. Okay. Now, as I mentioned just earlier, starting of the uh, meeting, as I mentioned in the earlier meeting, This is CNMC, whereby the gold price has been moving upwards. So with the reopening of the industries, factories, they can start making gold again, refining gold. And now the chart is doing a quite a nice pattern, sideways consolidation. So we like to see if you can break up with volume, and also turn up above the 200-day moving average. It is a positive sign. So we like to see how this one turns out. The only bad thing is that this small little move has a high volume. Okay, though it closed higher than the previous close. So this is something that I don't know, that there could be a lot of traders happening, a lot of buying and selling. The bulls and bears are fighting. So we like to see how this one turns out. If it turns out sideways and continue to break up with high volume, you can look to take the trade. Okay. This is Accordia Golf Trust. So there's a news today. After the XD come down, there's news that the so-called 1.2 billion Japanese yen that they are reserved for COVID, they are going to release back to the shareholders. And on top of that, they also reported that they are at the end stage of their valuation and deal to sell off all their golf to a unknown investor. All right, so there might be some takeover news happening. The previous news was in this, where they mentioned that they are in a negotiation stage. They need to value the company on that. So the stock price went gap up to as high as like 75 cents. All right, so thereafter, because of the COVID crash, and then thereby now they have completed their valuation, and the deal is at the advanced stage. So we might see some more upside into this counter. All right, so that's all I have for today. Do you guys have any questions? If not, oh, sorry, I want to add in a few more stocks, mainly because the airline industry is reopening. All right, previously, a lot of people talk about SIA, and I said I'm wrong about the SIA rights issue thing. This is the part. But thereafter, it's been trending down. It has not been performing well. I thought it would like just stay sideways, but it seems to be turning down. It seems to be a lot of investors are selling out. This volume is coming down. A lot of the volumes are down days. So um, it might not bode well for SIA in the near future. All right. So we like to see how um, especially the next results are when they report, and see how this one turns out. Okay. So at this moment, I will still not buy into SIA. Okay, so but since there are a lot of because they are starting to fly again, we can look at the other support companies, that they're supporting the whole airline industries. Whereas this SES is giving quite a nice pattern, all right, and it's been pulling back, coming down on very low volume. So this is a very good sign, no? The up move, there's a lot of volume. This up move. Okay, so that's why you can see this indicator moving up. This volume is coming down very slowly, so it's not coming down. So this is a good sign, no? And any up move with volume, right, is a positive sign. Okay, which means to say, um, funds are coming back in, investors are coming back in to hold the stock, or they are rebalancing to hold more of the stocks. So if this one can continue to consolidate sideways, we just be mindful for the next breakout here. All right, if for those who are conservative, those who like to investor, you can look to um, accumulate this. Okay, and when you accumulate, do accumulate in a positive market environment, when this is starting to turn up. So we have SES, and then we have the maintenance crew, SIA Engineering. So this is quite a positive sign. Okay, it rallied up, the previous rally, and then it's been resting sideways, similarly to the bank's pattern. Okay, so as long as it's trading above this 195 and trade sideways on low volume, we can look to invest into this when the indicator starts to turn up. together with the whole market sentiment. Okay. All right. Any questions? Any stocks that you guys want me to look at? All right. If not, thank you everyone. That's the end of the meeting.